All right, guys, it's Hink here. So today we have to conclude our series looking at this Bad Girls Bible article, okay? Now this, in my opinion, is the most flagrantly outlandish and the most spicy that this article gets. The topics that are discussed are what is big, what is too big, what is it about big sizes that are enjoyable, or what is it about big sizes that you hate, what has led to good experiences with big sizes, and finally concluding with on a actual numerical scale, what is the ideal size according to these women in both length and girth? So guys, trust me, I'm going to try not to have a stroke on this video, but you want to stay tuned for this one. And guys, if you have made it this far, please take a second to just like the video and subscribe, especially if you have seen the other part 1 and part 2 of this video series. So guys, they start off the rip trying to make me stroke the absolute F out. 63.7% of women have had sex with a partner possessing a large peepee. So you might be saying, well, hey, that's not unreasonable. Guys, like, think back to part 1 and part 2 of these videos. I'm going to put up a chart here. So it says that between 6 to 8 inches is the ideal size for women in general. And if you look at the percentage of women that are reporting having these large sizes, 6 to 8 inches, guys, is statistically big. There's no way around that. It is big. And I know, Hink, 6 inches is that? Let me know in the comments, guys. Is 6 inches big? And guys, in these studies, they're talking specifically about non-bone press size or penetrative size. You know, I already made part 1 about how women don't even know what 6 inches actually is. But the point is, it's going to be your non-bone pressed, or what you can visibly see. And so, guys, they also talk about here that a PP of 7 inches would satisfy more than 88.3% of women. They've already talked about how the average is 5.5 inches. If they're saying only 63% of women have had a big PP, but yet 7 is what they want, like, how can you even have that? If so many women have said that they haven't even had a big PP, that most of the guys they've been with is average. Average is somewhere between 5.1 to 5.5. So how could the same women that are saying they prefer 7 inches, also 63% of them say that they haven't been with somebody big, when statistically that's very big? That's more than 2 standard deviations above normal, where any statistician can tell you that is a very big size. So do you see why this makes me go absolutely insane? And do you see why this is so harmful? Because, like, these women, I wish they would just say, like, what do you think is an average size? Like, that, even that would be clarifying for this study. Because they might say, oh yeah, I think 7 inches is average. And then you can objectively know that these women are fucking stupid. That is such a simple question that would have actually had some way to actually validate any of this data. Now, Jesus. Guys, look at this one. So partner's penis size during most recent big penis experience. Like, look at this. So over 20% of women said that their partner's penis size was over 9 inches. Almost 20% of women say that they were with a guy that was 10 inches. Over 10% of women say that they were with a guy that was 11 inches and 12 inches. Almost 15% of women say that they were with a guy that was that was 12 inches. Like, do you see? Like, oh my God.
Do you see now? Yeah, I see. Oh, God.
But guys, these guys that have made a career out of lying about their size, like Jonah Falcon and Matt Barr, like, they are not even, honestly, not even anywhere near these sizes. But even them, those 2 guys, like, could be the only ones that would claim to be like 12 inches or bigger. But yet the fudge how 15% of women have had a foot long? Like an actual foot long? Guys, looking at the actual scientific data, I'm going to put it up on the screen. Once you get above 10 inches, really above 9.5 inches, the chance of you having a penis that big is statistically 0. These biggest of the big guys, like Dredd, Brickzilla, maybe 9 inches, maybe. The biggest that I've ever, like, actually seen with any kind of measurements is Julio Gomez, and we're talking about bone pressed maybe 9.5 inches, and it is insane, guys. These women are they're honestly just lying. There's no effing statistical way that it is possible, and that 15% of women on the study have had 12 inches. It's just impossible. So guys, this entire survey is null and void. The entire thing. All right, woosah, okay? God. It's just like, that is one of the most infuriating things I've ever seen in my entire life. In all of, like, So I've been doing YouTube for like 2.5 years now, but looking at like my statistics for almost 5 years now. That is the single worst thing I've ever seen. Guys, let me know in the comments, do you think these women are telling the truth? Well, Hink, I was in the locker room and I saw a guy, he was at least 12 inches soft.
Don't do the voice.
Let me know what you think, guys. All the comments help the algorithm. If you have made it this far, guys, like and subscribe. Help your boy out. And of course, I know you see this fly-ass Hink gear, bro. Woo, Hink's getting in shape. Check it out if you want to support me. Links to my merch is in the description. We are starting to get back to more realistic reports just because it's so subjective. And so if you move the scale, it actually makes sense. But they're saying that only about 60% of women find sex with a big PP satisfying. Now, big PP does not equal 12 inches, but I think this is very telling just because like when you are a bigger size, there's a lot more warm-up that is needed. Oftentimes additional things like additional lubricants are needed. And like a lot of guys just think that like, oh, me have big pee-pee, me just grind away and make girl happy. Like, and they just like, like there's so much more to that, guys. And so that's why these bigger guys are leaving almost 40% of the women unsatisfied. And lo and behold, they actually break this down. So guys, if you just ignore the shit that was said before about women and being with guys commonly 8 inches plus, this is actually reasonable data. Once again, the most common cause for why they didn't like it is it was painful. There wasn't enough warm-up or foreplay. He was too wide. He was sexually selfish. He had no skills. He went too fast. Guys, like all of these things are things that like plague the actual like bigger guys. It is not all it's cracked up to be that big, regardless of what the jerk-offs over at D Problem subreddit say, which 99% of those guys are LARPing anyways. This reminds me kind of like NBA players. So you have some guy that's like Ben Simmons. He's born naturally tall, naturally gifted, amazing skill set, but he never works at his craft, and therefore he burns out in the NBA. But then you guys have guys like Peyton Pritchard that are these small guys that have to absolutely like work their ass off to get the job done. Like those are the guys that at least I personally value higher than the guys that are just born naturally gifted. So it's the same thing with guys that are more average size. In order to make sure that their girl is satisfied, they have to really hone their craft. They have to know how to, be a DJ and just like, mix those tables, if you know what I mean, or what positions or the motion of the ocean. And so guys, here's some additional context. Why didn't you like it? Well, he enjoyed hurting me. It was violent. I felt him all the way up in my belly and I saw blood after every encounter. So guys, let's just take a quick break here. So the distance between basically the vaginal and so basically your vagina and your belly button in women, it is not that far. Depending on how tall you are, on average, it's right at around like 5.5 inches, okay, inside. You don't have to be that big to have a girl like feel it in her guts. And so this myth of like, oh, you have to be a foot long in order for her to feel it in her guts, it's just stupid. Of those women who actually like big peepees, well, why did they like it? Most women feel like it hits their spots. They enjoy the feeling of being full. They enjoy being stretched. But guys, we can't underestimate the impact of this, my attraction to him. So she was already attracted to the guy and he happened to have a big peepee. It's not like the big peepee was a reason I was attracted. His confidence, guys, with big peepees come big D energy. Like it is just a fact of life. Ever since I grew, guys, which you can do. It is possible to enlarge the size of your penis, guys. I have my Hink trial. The link is in the description where you can see on average the 7 guys that were taught my methods grew at over 1/2 inch in length and 1/4 inch in girth in 6 months with verifiable photos that you can see for yourself. So if you're interested, check it out. But as I grew, I became more confident. And as I become more confident, I have absolutely became a better lover. And so guys, once again, just a further example of how fucking stupid the author of this survey is. So they said 67.2% of women like that their partner's PP could hit their spots like their G-spot. The G-spot is on average about 2.5 to 3 inches inside the vaginal canal. It's on the anterior surface, meaning that if you were to go inside a vaginal canal and basically about 3 inches and lift up, that is actually the G-spot. It doesn't fucking make sense that you would need a big peepee to penetrate 3 inches. A guy with a micro peepee could actually hit a G-spot better than a guy with a big peepee. So it's just stupid. So anyways, that's just one example of how dumb these people are. And guys, last but not least, we're going to talk about ideal size as far as what women are saying is the ideal size. Brace yourself, guys. They are saying that 7.22 inches is the average ideal penis length for women. Let's just break down what this means on a scientific level, guys. Enough with the bullshit, like subjective stuff. A penis length of 7.2 inches is over 3 standard deviations bigger than the actual average size. And this length is extremely rare with only about 0.9% of men having a penis that big, or roughly 1 in 1,000. So if you have 4 billion men on this planet, there are still about 3.5 million that have a peepee that size, but it's much more rare than you would think, okay? Less than 1%. I mean, Jesus, it's less than 0.1% of men actually have a peepee that big. So how is that, statistically, how does that make sense that that is going to be the ideal size, when most women, I would argue, have not even had a peepee that size? And guys, just to further back up how absolutely just like laughably bullshit this is, look at the erect size preference. 6% of women want a size that statistically doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Jesus, all right, I'm gonna bring it down for you guys. And so guys, even 9 inches, the biggest of the big in the industry, almost 10% of women say that that is their ideal size, when you have adult stars like Violet Myers and Brandy Love and Mia Malkova saying that that is too big, it hurts, it does not feel good, they do not enjoy it. Use some common sense here, guys. And Jesus, guys, okay. Next, I'm going to talk about girth. The average girth that women said was ideal is 5.94 inches. So let's just say 6 inches is their ideal girth. That is gigantic. I cannot stress to you, if you go to the subreddit measured adult stars and you actually look, you can actually see how many of the adult stars are actually 6 inches in girth and bigger. It would blow your ever-loving effing mind how many adult stars are not that size. Before we go on to that though, guys, just look at this. A 6-inch girth is once again above 3 standard deviations above average. This is extremely rare, with only 0.052% of men, or roughly 1 in 2,000. 1 in 2,000. That's more rare than having a PP length of 7.2 inches. Johnny Sins, one of the most famous adult stars there is. He is, if you're being generous, 7 inches non-bone pressed in length and about 5.2 inches if you're being generous in girth. Now, guys, on the website, they actually have his like Clona Willy Bilbo Baggins that they use and actually measure the dimensions of it. And you can see him actually holding it up like beside his real thing. So you know it's actually the same size and it's measured. It's not that size. So these women are saying that on average, Johnny Sins is too small for them. Too small. Like, does that fucking make sense? It does not. So just use some critical thinking and common sense when you break down these survey results like this. And guys, the biggest of the big, Dread, for example, is about 6.5 in girth. And so once again, at his girth, adult stars are saying it hurts, it's like child labor, I don't enjoy doing it. He's an amazing guy, but I hate being intimate with him. So use some common sense, guys. And at least they comment on this in the study. They say, oh, our survey relied on anonymous recollections and preferences. While they were encouraged to tell the truth and accurately represent, the data is nevertheless self-reported and there's the possibility of some inaccuracies. Yeah, you don't fucking say. So guys, like, this is the single most like harmful thing that I have ever seen. And unfortunately, I have seen several different media outlets reporting this data and further perpetuating this myth of what is real size and what is actually to be expected like from men. And so when men read this shit and they're perfectly fine, perfectly average, on the upper side of average, 5.8 inches, should feel great about that size. But then read this saying that, oh, women want 7.2 inches in general, like over an inch bigger than what they have. And then once again, guys, average girth is somewhere around 4.5 to 4.8. You know, you're feeling good. You're right at 5 inches. And then you read this and it's saying that women want a girth of almost an inch bigger than that. Like, do you see how fucking harmful that is? Do you see why I get so worked up about this? You need to calm down. Like, no, I won't calm down. This is so fucking harmful, guys. And this has to stop. And so help me spread this message, guys. Like, share this video. I mean, like and subscribe to this content so we can actually get some realistic data out there so guys and girls know what to expect. And guys, I've said it before, what's more important than the size you have, which you can increase the size you have, just watch the other videos on my channel, I break down the science behind it, but is actually how hard you are, okay? But guys, let me know what you think, like, and subscribe. All the ways to support me are in the video below. I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, guys, you're so much more than the size of your D. Be the best version of yourself. You are enough just the way you are, but there is nothing wrong with self-improvement. All right, guys, peace and love.
Dr. Hink got the plug on the health, yeah. Got you thinking about your wealth, yeah. In his office, no stealth, yeah. Pinnacle of that below the belt, yeah. Checks and balance, he's managing. Working miracles, no damage. Got you covered, no panicking. Stay calm. In the clinic, no vanishing. Yeah, with Doc Hink, it's the way back.